Man, male accuser, speaks out. But before we get into this demonstration, let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Everything that you hear in this demonstration is all allegedly. Finally, one of the accusers of Baby Oil Man has spoken out. And this accuser happens to be a male. This is a male. I want to warn you all of the graphic details.
According to your lawsuit, you were hired by a security firm to work security at one of the infamous white parties that was thrown by Sean Combs in the Hamptons. What was that experience like?
At first, he was incredibly friendly, very gracious.
So you had a friendly chat, and then, according to your lawsuit, at some point later in the night, Sean Combs himself offered you a drink. This didn't come from staff or someone holding a tray of drinks. It came from him directly.
Correct. The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, wow, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks. Sadly, Sean Combs was waiting in the wings. He was watching from some sort of vantage point. And once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
Wow. So according to this male victim, Baby Oil Man handed him the drink himself. He said it wasn't until the second drink, that whatever it is Baby Oil Man laced the drinks with, it wasn't until that second drink that he noticed it affected him. Here's my thing with it all. If you're under the influence of alcohol, if you're under the influence of drugs, how can you recall what took place? That's a food for thought, y'all. Keep that in mind. How can you recall what happened?
You allege that you were forcibly pushed into an SUV by Sean Combs. That act alone, according to your lawsuit, left you in considerable pain. And then once inside the vehicle, your lawsuit says plaintiff was held down by Combs, who overpowered him while he struggled to escape due to the effects of the drugs in his system. And it goes on to say that he sodomized you.
I was screaming. I was telling him to stop. It was incredibly painful.
Wow. Salute Caramel. Appreciate you for pulling up. So now he goes on to say that he was pushed into a SUV and held down, overpowered by Baby Oil Man and taken advantage of. He said he was screaming. He said it was hurting him.
And he was acting like it was nothing. And he seemed to be disconnected from it. But it was abusive beyond belief.
So it says, representatives for Combs did not comment, but at the time of the original complaint, released a blanket statement regarding the complaint and others filed at the same time. Mr. Combs and his legal team had full confidence in the facts, their legal defenses, and the integrity of the judicial process. Right, Carmel? Wow. Wow. And there's more. There's more. And if y'all remember when Jaguar Wright said that a close friend of hers went past Baby Oil Man's office. And inside, I believe this friend of Jaguar's Right either opened up the door. However, when that friend of Jaguar Wright entered Baby Oil Man's office, they saw Christopher Williams on his knees giving Baby Oil Man a blowjob. So it just goes back to all the things that Jaguar Wright had been saying. Now we have actual victims coming out, and their statements, their testimonies are similar to what Jaguar Wright has been saying.
All right, seeing as Elizabeth Wagmeister, who's been doing really amazing reporting on this subject, is here with your exclusive. What was it like to sit down with this man?
You know, John, this was the first time that he has told anyone other than his attorneys this story. He, as you see, we concealed his identity. He filed his lawsuit back in October as a John Doe. He says that he wants to keep his anonymity because he wants to keep some semblance of his life private. But that's a difficult thing to do, to sit down and tell your story to a stranger as a journalist. So I asked him, why now? Why are you coming forward now? And he said that he did not know that there were other accusers of Sean Combs out there. He only found out from seeing news reports. And
now I want to stop right there. Because now it seems like the domino effect. Now it seems like everybody is coming out of the woodwork. Everybody is coming out of the closet with these Baby Oil Man stories. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't happen, but for me, it's strange. It's strange. I get maybe one person that's scared. I get maybe two, but all of these people that say that they were victims of Baby Oil Man, even with the 13-year-old, whom now is 37 years old, the 13-year-old at the time said that her father came to pick her up and her father was aware of what had taken place. I'm going to tell y'all, and I done said it before. When it comes to a father, when it comes to a mother, when it comes to a parent and it's dealing with a child, if that parent is not on no foul-ish, you're going to have to deal with that parent right then and there. It ain't no sweeping nothing up under the rug. It just, for me, it gives me the feeling of it's a cash cow for most of these victims. That's just my opinion. What about y'all? Do y'all feel the same way? I do believe that there are some victims. But I just believe that it's more of a cash cow. It's a payday for them. That's just my opinion.
there was one report he saw that there is somebody who alleged that they were 9 years old when they say that they were abused by Sean Combs. And this John Doe that I sat down with, he said, if a 9-year-old could do it, then I could do it. And it made him feel like he wished that he spoke out before because he could have prevented children from allegedly being abused. Now, as I said, this lawsuit was initially filed back in October of this year. So these claims are not new, but this is the first time that he sat down. In fact, John, this is the first time that any accuser of Sean Combs has sat down with the media for an interview. Now, I want to play you a bit more of what he told me about these allegations, what he says happened that night in 2007. But I do want to warn our viewers that what he says is graphic and disturbing.
And remember with the 9-year-old, the 9-year-old said that he took a picture with Baby Oil Man, and Baby Oil Man touched him inappropriate. We all saw the picture. I didn't see any inappropriate touching in that picture. Salute, Tracy. Appreciate you, Tracy. I didn't see any inappropriate touching in that picture. So if the man is guilty, and you all know how I feel about someone taking their charge. If Baby Oil Man is guilty, let him find him guilty, charge him with the things that he done. Salute Trelania. Salute Trelania. Don't go sticking charges on him because now it's a payday for you.
I was screaming. I was telling him to stop. It was incredibly painful. And he was acting like it was nothing. And he seemed to be disconnected from it. But it was abusive beyond belief.
Let me just stop it right there. Now, we talking about a man. We talking about, listen, y'all. If you do something to a man, if you take a man's manhood, and we done saw it play out plenty of times. This happened some years ago. This happened in Baltimore. The young man was being molested by the pastor when the young man was young. And the young man went up in the church while the pastor was giving his sermon. The young man went up in the church and pow the pastor. See, these are the things that take place when you violate a man. If you get the chance to violate in that man, best believe that man hasn't forgotten about what you done. And look, the hell with the money. This dude violated. This dude took my manhood from me. This dude got to go. So when it comes to the men, I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it. I get it if he laced the drinks with some drugs. I get it if he held you down and they forcefully took it from you. I get all of that. But it's the repercussions after. You mean to tell me you had your manhood taken from you? That is something sacred for every man. Now, if you give up your manhood to another man, that's something completely different because you willingly gave up your manhood on your own to be violated. So that's something different. 10 times out of 10, you ain't going to be looking for no get back. But you had a man, and then the way the man went about taking your manhood from you, and you didn't resort into violence, I'm not buying it, y'all. I'm not buying it.
Now, he says that not a day has gone by where he hasn't thought about this. He said that when something like this happens to you, which is, of course, his allegation that he was drugged and sodomized by Sean Combs back in 2007, he says that it impacts every part of your life. He says that he has not been able to carry on with relationships. He says that he did not tell his wife at the time, who he was married to when this allegedly happened to him. He hasn't told family members or coworkers. And again, that is one of the big reasons why he wants to remain anonymous.
And now all of a sudden, y'all, peep the play. Peep the play. Now all of a sudden, you're coming out and you want to speak about it. Now you're coming out. Why? Why? Come on, y'all. If this ain't a dope fiend move at its finest, then I don't know what to call it. It's a dope fiend move. They see an opportunity, and y'all gotta know that there are opportunist people out here. They look for opportunities like this. They look for these type of opportunities. So now Now, baby oil man is being accused of sex trafficking. Baby oil man is being accused of kidnapping. Baby oil man is accused of racketeering. Baby oil man is being accused. And now you see what? Now you see if Cassie was able to get 30 million out of baby oil man, then for surely I should be able to get something out of him. I'm not buying this one, y'all. I'm not. As of right now, the only thing, as of right now, the only thing that I see that baby oil man is guilty of, the only thing is the attack on Cassie in that video that we saw. That's the only thing right now that can be proven, and that's the only thing that I will say I believe. Outside of that, I'm not believing it, y'all.
Incredible to hear him tell this story. All right, Elizabeth Wagmeister, thank you very much. Sarah.
All right, joining us now, CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson to discuss more about this. All right, first.
And before I let my man, chop it up. Salute, Shano. Salute. Appreciate you for pulling up. I'm going into this new year. I'm going into the year 2025, and I'm going into it and I'm standing 10 toes down in what is real. I'm standing on facts. No longer will I be sugarcoating anything for anybody. No longer will I be allowing anybody to get a pass. You're going to have to be solid. You're going to have to show me proof. And I'm just not buying this. Like with the 13-year-old female. Now, you mean to tell me you got dropped off? You knew out of your own mouth, the 13-year-old said she snuck in the awards. She wanted to sneak in the awards at 13 years old. And so we're going to bypass, we're going to skip her wrongdoing. At 13 years old, you ain't had no business sneaking into this event. At 13 years old, you ain't had no business being around grown folks. At 13, you know right from wrong. At 13, you knew that it was grown folks in that award show. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
First of all, this is a civil lawsuit. It is not part of the criminal prosecution. But in hearing this, and now that he is coming out to speak,
listen to what was said. It is a civil lawsuit. It ain't on the criminal side of it. It ain't on the criminal docket. It's a civil lawsuit. Make this make sense. Somebody make this make sense. You mean to tell me this man violated you? You mean to tell me this man took your manhood? You don't want to see this man go to prison. You don't want to see this man to be prosecuted in criminal court. However, you want some money out of it. Let me explain something to y'all about a man. And I know this for a fact. If you take the man's manhood, if you violate a man by taking his manhood, the hell with any amount of money, that man is coming to take your life from you. And I don't care who you is. You can best believe that. You can best believe that. A man's manhood is sacred. You don't play with a man about his manhood. That's sacred. So you didn't clap back. You didn't take baby oil man's life. You didn't even attempt to bang him up. You don't want him to be prosecuted in criminal court, but you want some money. Yeah, all right.
could it be?
So we'll see. There's a lot that has to be unpacked, right? The first thing is remember, Sarah, that this was an amended complaint. Why do I say that, and why is that significant? It's significant because initially when it was filed in October, there was the indication that it happened in 2007, right? Learning, however, that P. Diddy was in St. Tropez then, so it could not have happened then. So it was amended to include, right, the year after, okay? That's a problem. There was also the indication initially that, right, he wasn't married, and now we're learning he is. Why do I say that? Because every case turns on its facts. So if you're going to determine, right, civil, it's a civil case, it involves monetary damages, not criminal, you're going to assess the credibility of it. Now, attorneys for, of course, P. Diddy are going to have a field day with that, of course, because
They're going to have a field day with it because he lied. He lied. 1 minute he got a girlfriend, he's not married. The next minute the Joker is married. Make it make sense.
when you sit down with your lawyer, you verify. Your lawyer doesn't say, oh, that's what happened, okay. You verify it, you vet it, you ensure that it's factually accurate. And so therefore, I think those two distinctions are going to be very important. Would you have not known that you were married at this time? Would you have not known? Should you have shared it with your spouse? Potentially not. It's embarrassing, but did you know you were married at all? Did you know where you were, when you were, etc.? So it's a question of fact, and I think it'll be vetted certainly by criminal investigators to determine whether or not it's useful, and then it'll be up to the judge to determine whether it is admissible.
Man, get this male accuser up out of here. I smell a rat. I smell a rat. You're going to know whether or not you was married at the time. But notice. 1 minute he's not married. This is the male accuser. And this is why I said, if you was drugged up, if you was under the influence of any drugs, how would you be able to know whether or not you was assaulted or not? You high. Like on Friday, remember Smokey said, I'm high. Trust me, you're not going to remember in detail, play for play, if you are high. I'm not believing it, y'all. I don't believe the 13-year-old girl story. I don't believe that 9-year-old boy story. And I'm not believing this male accuser story at all. I don't believe it.
I am curious about something. He told our Elizabeth Wagmeister there that he'd not told anyone about this until he spoke, I think, to his attorneys. How difficult will it be to prove this?
So what ends up happening is that, you know, there's a lot of embarrassment and a lot of shame, right? And there's a lot of sensitivity as it relates to victims. And
I ain't buying it. When it comes to a woman, I understand. I understand when it comes to a woman, the sensitivity of it, the embarrassment of it. When it comes to a man, I ain't buying it. Because a man, take a man's manhood and see what happened. Try to take a man's manhood and see what happened. You're going to have to kill that man to take his manhood from him. Trust me. And if you get off with taking his manhood, trust me, he's waiting. He's plotting for the get back. I'm telling y'all. Y'all seen that movie Hard Time with Master P, Sticky Fingers, and remember when the dude, what was his name? I forgot his name. The light-skinned dude. When the white supremacist dude took his manhood, what did he do? He waited and he plotted for the day to kill that man. So you can't come at me with, oh, I feel embarrassed. That's why I ain't tell nobody. I don't want it to be and prosecuted in the criminal court. However, I want it to go to civil court. I will accept some money. That's not how it works when you take a man's manhood from him.
sometimes you have victim, and it's called recent outcry information, where they'll say something to a friend, I can't believe it. That's powerful evidence. In some circumstances, there's humiliation, and they don't. And there are experts who will testify to that. On the issue of proof, however, there's the indication that a celebrity was present. That's according to this particular victim, Elizabeth doing an excellent job in that interview. But there was the issue of, hey, there's a celebrity present. Does that celebrity come forward? There's the indication that he told his supervisor, he being the victim who worked for a private security company, telling his supervisor. Will the supervisor come forward? Did anybody else know? So these are all questions of proof. And to the extent that you have corroboration, meaning it's not just you, there's other people, it's easier to establish your claim.
And speaking of this idea of shame that victims often feel, this victim has not wanted to be named. He's not named in the suit. He is still a John Doe. How long can that last? Because at some point, right, that has to change, correct?
So, yes. So, Sarah, it's up to the discretion of the judge. And what the judge does is a balancing test between your right to privacy, intimidation, humiliation, a number of other factors, right? To what extent could you be retaliated against, etc., versus the public interest. And also, right, the party you're suing certainly has an interest. And so a judge will assess various factors, weigh those factors, and make an assessment as to whether or not the John Doe continues or it ends.
Joey Jackson, it is always a pleasure. You always get through all of the hard details with us, and I really appreciate it.
Pleasure's mine.
I'm not buying it, y'all. I'm not buying it. The mere fact that the accusers can remain anonymous, that says a lot. I mean, come on now. Come on. At the end of the day, like I said, at the end of the day, Baby Oil Man, he does have a right to defend himself. And we know how the media, we know how people, period, but we know how they can paint a bad picture of someone. They can make it where as though an innocent man by the name of Jesus Christ can be crucified. So we are well aware of the play. For me, here's my thing. Y'all denied Baby Oil Man bail 3 to 4 times. Y'all denied him bail. He's willing to put up $50 million. Y'all denied him bail. It seems like to me that they are playing this game with Baby Oil Man for a higher cause. Now they got Jay-Z tied in too. Y'all notice they got Jay-Z tied in too. We know why they brought Jay-Z in it. You already know what's going to happen. You already know what's going to happen. You got Baby Oil Man on one side. You got Jay-Z on the other side. They are hoping, mark my words, they are hoping to play Jay-Z against Baby Oil Man. And if Jay-Z is not smart, this is what they're going to do. See, look at how the pattern is repeating itself. Look at how they grab Baby Oil Man. They doing Jay-Z the same way that they done Baby Oil Man. I promise y'all. I promise y'all. Weeks to come, months to come, we are going to be hearing about Jay-Z homes have been raided. Salute to For Life. Salute. I promise y'all, mark my word. Weeks to come, months to come, we are going to hear about whether it's Homeland Security or whether it's the feds have raided Jay-Z's homes or Jay-Z's offices. I promise y'all, they're going to do the same thing to Jay that they done to Baby Oil Man. And then after they raid the homes of Jay-Z, they are going to arrest Jay-Z. Now, it may not happen, but I promise you, Jay-Z is going to be arrested. They already laying it down. They laying it down. And this is something that we all were suspecting. And this is something that many of us was saying from the very beginning. What about Jay-Z? See, look at the pattern. Look at the pattern. Don't think for 1 second that Jay-Z isn't on the radar. The For Life says they wildin'. If so, but I definitely feel you. We know the bigger scheme of things, the bigger picture. We know what it's all about. And it's about destroying and I do believe this, it's about destroying anybody that's melanated that is a threat to the ruling power. Just like Baby Oil Man was a threat when he announced that the black political movement, that he was going to be financed. That's why they came for Baby Oil Man. I promise y'all. Because they already knew all these things about Baby Oil Man. They could have been grabbed Baby Oil Man. They could have been grabbed Baby Oil Man. Just ask yourself, the situation that went down with Tupac, right? You got Keefe D. They locked Keefe D up. You got Keefe D. Keefe D stated, he stated that the Southside Compton Crips was paid by Baby Oil Man $1 million for a hit on Tupac. They never questioned Baby Oil Man. So you mean to tell me, now all of a sudden, y'all want us to believe. See, the way that they went about it, and I done seen it before, the way that they went about it, it's sloppy work. It's sloppy work the way that they went about it. The For Life says Bill Cosby, O.J. Simpson, R. Kelly. And the list goes on and on. Michael Jackson, Prince. The list goes on and on. My only thing is, as melanated people, we got to stop falling for the trap. As melanated people, we gotta stop putting ourselves in these predicaments. As melanated people, we have to go back to the old-fashioned way of thinking. We have to go back to the old-fashioned way of living. That's the only way that we're going to be successful. That's the only way that we're going to make it out of the conditions that we are in. We're going to have to go back to the old-fashioned way of thinking. And the old-fashioned way of thinking, no matter how much money you got, no matter how many white friends you got, you're still a nigga. And at any given time, you get out of line. At any given time, they'll bring you back to reality. They'll drop you down to your knees as quick as you could say 1, 2, 3. They don't got no problem with putting you in your place. And as a melanated man, as a melanated woman, as melanated children in this country, we all ain't nothing but a bunch of niggas. And our purpose in this country, I would like to say amongst the whole world, but definitely in this country, as melanated people, our duty, our jobs, our lives is to service our white counterparts. And you could take that to the bank and cash it in. Caramel says, old-fashioned is what is needed. Fact, Shank. Caramel says, agreed. We seen this play out with Michael Jackson. And it's going to continue to play out. As long as we fall into the trap. Stop going on these platforms that is of non-melanated people. Stop going on them Caucasians platforms, making a fool out of yourself. Go on to a melanated man's platform. Go on to a melanated sister's platform. Give they platform the views, the clicks. Give they platforms the support. Every chance we get, we quick to run to them with our stories. Why? Why? And then you see how they play us every time. When you go on those platforms, they only want to talk about negativity stuff. You 50 years old, you 60 years old. And when you go on them platforms, and y'all know the platforms that I'm talking about, when you go on Vlad's platform, why Vlad don't have black doctors on there? Why he don't have entrepreneurs? Why he don't have black teachers? Why he don't have the positive black people on his platform? Why he keep bringing the same people on his platform? And he asks them the same questions over and over again. How much street talk can you do? How much street talk can you do? Every interview, he keeps asking the same old questions. Have you ever been locked up before? Have you ever been shot? Have you ever sold drugs? It's the same old thing over and over. Like when it comes to black people, like we haven't done nothing else but live the street life. Stop taking y'all stories on them platforms. I fault y'all for going on Vlad. You really can't fault him. Shit, he see a fool, he gonna work a fool. He gonna treat a fool just like a fool supposed to be treated. Stop going on them platforms. Stop wanting to be seen all the time. Go back to the old-fashioned way. Stop wanting to show your money. All right, everybody know you got money. But that's the problem. We know you got money, but we shouldn't know that you got money. Remember, y'all, it's a new year coming. 2025 is a new year. Let's leave all the baggage. Let's leave all the dirty laundry. Let's leave all the unnecessary weight. Let's leave it behind in 2024. It's a new year coming. Let's support our own. Let's help make millionaires. Let's help make billionaires. Let's get out of the new way of thinking, and let's go back to the old way of thinking. The old way of thinking works all the time. That's why we where we at now. We think it's corny to think old-fashioned. We think it's lame to be old-fashioned. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Salute. I'll see y'all on the next demonstration. I'm not buying this though, y'all. I'm not. Salute, y'all.